Hey everybody, welcome to week 5 of Planter Indoor Garden Market Grow Night. This is going to focus on harvesting and pruning tips, as well as trellising, pollination, a lot of different subjects that we're going to go through today. My name is Cliff Tart. I'm actually the Loudoun County, Virginia community grower as part of the Indoor Food Growing Network, hosted by Planter. So if you would like to join our free training, we have a quick QR code up there. Just give that a scan. You can learn how to grow food 365 days a year, up to 4 full growing cycles using LED grow lights with hydroponics or soil, or two full cycles of tomatoes, cucumbers, fruiting plants indoors. All indoors takes up about the same size space as a coffee table. You can scale it up to produce as much as you want. In about 8 square feet, you can do 2 to 3 pounds a week of growth in herbs and greens. So this is really farming for you. It's farming in your apartment, inside the city, inside any area that you want. May come as a surprise to you, but a lot of the innovations that have happened in LED lights and hydroponics and soil growing has enabled us to grow tremendous amounts of food in places that you would never quite expect. So if you are seeing this and it's well after October 19th, don't worry. We've got tons of helpful things in this episode to get you going. There are QR codes and things that we're going to direct you to, free supply lists, free overviews of how to do these different activities. But the bottom line is you don't need to be an expert. You can do it 365 days per year. You can start today. It doesn't matter if it's January or July. If you're just getting started, then check out our free guide. Follow along with our free training video list, which we will show you in a minute, and really just start growing. So let's get things kicked off here. We're going to shift over into growth. So if you've been following us, or if you go back a couple of our episodes, you would have seen that we planted seeds. Then they became seedlings, and then we planted them out. In this case, we put them into 2 different types of systems. One is an arrow garden, not pictured here, although I have it here to show you. The other one is a LetPot self-watering pot. And each one has its benefits, negative, positives. There's a good mix of things that happen with these. But I would say it's tremendously beneficial to do these. So let's take a look at the arrow garden first. Now, keep in mind that these plants have been growing for about 30 days. Last week, they were not harvestable, too small. But as you'll see today, the plants have actually grown to the size where it's time to harvest, really. We're not going to harvest them today. That's for our episode next week. But as you can see, these plants have outgrown the space and they are fresh and ready to harvest. The root system is so large, I can't even pick up the basket where the plant's growing in here. And it's growing full into all of these different spaces. So originally, at the seedling size, the light was really low down here. Now I've picked it up. I pulled the lights up, give it more space to grow up and around. But these plants are really ready to grow. Now keep in mind, this is hydroponics, soilless water culture. It usually takes about 30 days in hydroponics, and you can see right around now, this is the time when it starts to get to that size. Now we also started in a self-watering pot, which I'm going to demonstrate right here. It's a little bit heavy. It's got some water in there. So this self-watering pot actually allows you to grow in soil. So it's got soil inside of here, and it has a little basket at the bottom where the water is actually going to be soaked up. And now the root systems are going to pull the nutrients and water up to these plants. Now keep in mind that this was planted at exactly the same time as the system that I just showed you. You can see the difference in the growth, though. Not very fast. Usually it takes much longer to grow in soil like this. Even though lights are powerful, growing indoors, nutrients, everything is good. Hydroponics just does much better over time. So highly recommend greens and herbs, hydroponics. Fruiting plants, though, do really well in these systems. I like to use the fruiting plants, tomatoes, cucumbers, peas, jalapenos. They just do really excellent job at growing inside these systems. No right or wrong way. If you want to grow in soil, you need to have probably twice as many plants. So the average person is going to consume, if you want to get half a pound or three-quarters of a pound a week, I would say in hydroponics, 16 plants growing per person is a good average. If you want to get the same number of production, then I would say closer to 24 to 30 plants like this growing in soil. You're going to have trays of these, but keeping in mind, if you are growing in soil, you can stack up. So you can do 5 different levels, 6 different levels. If you've got a shelving unit, we're going to take a look at one of those shelving units a little bit later that was shared by a Reddit user. Super cool. And thanks so much to them for sharing so that we can understand a little bit more about this technology and how productive it is. So that concludes let me move this back over here. That actually concludes our overview. So growth showcase. Now, next week, we're actually going to do harvesting, and then we're going to go through a process of figuring out what to do with these, how to cook them. So the system that I just showed you is the Aero Garden. LetPot gardens are very similar. They've got larger systems that go up to 21 plants, systems that can do a dwarf containers size tomato or maybe cucumber. You can check those out right here. And we also have a link to the self-watering pots as well. So let me bring those up for you. Okay, so here's the hydroponic system. This is the larger LetPot system. The self-watering pot I just showed you, that's at the QR code up there. So if you scan that, you can check it out and see how that works. It's super helpful, easy to do, and let's move right along here. Talk about some pruning techniques. So it's really important that once you're starting this process, keep in mind you can harvest continuously throughout the year. You don't have to wait for spring, you don't have to wait for summer, you don't have to wait for fall, you don't have to wait for higher sunlight levels, none of those things. You can do this in a deep part of a city, inside a small apartment, get huge amounts of production, and really change the food cycle for yourself. If you haven't joined already, we've got a free training program right there at that QR code. Just takes a couple of basic pieces of information, and then you can grow along with us in your space, and we help you along. So important, if you're going to grow indoor food plants, some things to keep in mind. Pruning. Now, pruning is really important because it's going to encourage new leaf growth and fruit growth. It should help in air circulation, prevent mold. It's going to keep your vegetables compact and manageable plants for indoor spaces. So let's take a look at our example over here again. You can see these plants are already bunching up completely. Like there's just no room. And if we had a little bit better camera angle, you could see some of the leaves on the inside of here just have no room to grow. So it's ideal that you cut off the outer leaves and allow this plant to grow up. So you'll have a long stalk and more leaves that are just coming up through there. So you're going to start your pruning when you have 4 to 6 sets of true leaves. Prune lightly during vegetative growth, and you want to try to train the plant to grow upright if it's a green or an herb plant, generally speaking. If it is a fruiting plant, tomato, cucumber, then you're going to stop the pruning once fruiting begins, unless you see something that's diseased. A good idea to use a clean, sharp scissors in order to prevent disease from spreading. And if you can, wipe the blades between cuts. It's not really practical with your herbs and greens necessarily, but certainly if you're going to do that for tomatoes, I would recommend it. You can also just pinch above leaf nodes to encourage bushiness for basil, mint, oregano, some of your bushier herbs. Removing the lower leaves that might be touching soil and suckers that could be like at the branch. So a sucker would be growing kind of like right in the middle of 2 branches inside a tomato plant, for example. That's going to be helpful. And keep in mind that ongoing care, you want to check for yellowing or crowded leaves, maintain light and airflow to reduce regrowth stress, and then compost trim material or add to worm bins for reuse. If you're not sure how to do that, our free weekly class includes a module on that, and that's part of our indoor food growing training program. So go ahead and do a quick scan there and grab that link to sign up. It's very easy to get going. So moving right along here, indoor pollination techniques. So A few things to note. There's two kinds of fruiting plants out there. You've got self-pollinating plants. For example, tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, they only need a little bit of vibration or gentle movement. So if you've got a electric toothbrush, you could actually put a fan on the plant, turn it on and vibrate those plants, and they're going to be able to self-pollinate pretty well. If you don't have that, I've got a little, just a carnation here, just to give you a sense. So if you don't have one of those, you can take a simple Q-tip like this. You can get the pollen off of the flower, and then you can go and pollinate the other plants. It's something easy to do. You don't have to run around outside. It's not hot. You know, you're at home. You can listen to a podcast and do it. It's pretty simple. So use that small brush. You can use a makeup brush as well. A good time to do this would be mid-morning when flowers are fully open. Pollen is the most active. Watch for sticky stigmas or visible pollen dust as indicators of readiness. So if you see a pollen or some kind of like powder, you'll know that's ready to go. Ideally maintain 60 to 70% humidity. Too high can clump the pollen, too low can dry it out. Ensure consistent LED lighting to support the flower development as well. You do want to have probably at least 100 watts of LED light power for those fruiting plants on average. So you'll know you were successful. The flowers will wilt naturally after pollination, followed by visible swelling at the base. And you can actually track your progress for these plants using something super handy. It's called the Plantain app. And let me get the code for you there so you can check it out. It's really fun and easy to use. We've got a discount code for it. It's PLANTHQ1, and that's going to be an indoor plant monitoring app. You can monitor light levels, you can track the progress of the plants as they're growing through time, and it's super helpful. So that's Plantain. Scan that code and then put in PLNTHQ1. You should be able to get straight over to it. So if you have any questions as we're going through this process, definitely reach out, and we'd be happy to answer questions. You can drop them into the chat based on whatever we're doing at the time. If you're on YouTube, you can drop them in the chat. We'll answer them pretty quickly. And we also do have a video training playlist that's pretty helpful. So if you want to start from the beginning and go all the way through all of these videos, watch them multiple times for free, no problem. You can use our food growing video training playlist, give that a scan. It's going to take you to Indoor Garden Market website and, or rather our YouTube page, and you can see our playlist. We update it pretty regularly as we have new things, new techniques, new products, new ways of growing more food for yourself in a small space at home. So moving along here, training your plants. There's lots of different things to consider when you're training plants. It's really important because if you don't do that, you can have stem breakage because plants get too heavy. Maybe you've got a tomato or a cucumber. That cucumber could actually break the plant, fall off of it before it gets ripe. It helps to maximize light exposure and airflow for every leaf if you're training them in a certain direction. Encourages stronger root to stem connection and better yields. So it's important that you're supporting those stems before they droop. So add soft clips or garden ties early before stems can lean or twist. Here's an example of one of these. This is great for putting in a trellis, so you could actually attach it onto a trellis. So as something is curving up, like the cucumber you see there, you actually attach it right onto the trellis in the back, and then it gives it lots of space. It supports that heavy cucumber as it's growing. You can also use bamboo stakes, PVC rods, light trellis for vertical plants like tomatoes and peppers. So it's really important that as you're growing these things out, make sure that your tall growers, your tomatoes and cucumbers, you want to train them up every 3 to 5 inches. So give them lots of space. Bushy herbs and greens, spread those branches gently outward using ties to open up the canopy. Give lots of air there. It's really important. You can use a stackable or modular trellis system that fits the shelves or hydro tower that you're working with, and clip vines to the side supports to save overhead space. So it can be an exterior part of your system or it can be built into it. Lots of different systems out there. We have a bunch on our website, which is accessible at the free training link up there, and lots of stuff to help you. All right, so moving right along here. Thanks so much for joining us. If you are just jumping in here, my name is Clift. I'm actually the indoor food grower community training program local person, basically, the community grower in the Loudoun County, Virginia area near Washington, D.C. I run local events, and I am also doing live courses and live streams just like this to get you to grow over 75 pounds of greens, herbs, and fruiting plants per year. Super exciting, very easy to do. You can grow more food in a small space with LED grow lights than you could ever imagine. And it's fresh, clean, it's better for you, your family, your friends, your dog, everybody, really. So let's move along to the challenge here. So if you are growing along with us, we'd love if you tag your indoor food garden setup. Just take a picture of it, and you can share with hashtag my indoor food garden. We watch that hashtag, and we will actually reshare during one of our live streams. Lots of people are doing this. There isn't a strong community out there to share it. So we would love to see how you're growing and make sure that your experience is shared with the global community of people doing this, because we suddenly have an additional way of growing food for ourselves. And most importantly of all, it includes in cities, in dense urban places where you never would be able to do this before because you lack the one thing required, land. Now that's all changed, and we have lots of great ways of doing this. So please share, tag your indoor food garden setup with my indoor hashtag my indoor food garden. If you happen to be in the Washington, D.C. area, during the month of October, we have a 16 plant pack seedlings that you can buy and drop into whatever system you want. So if you want to use one of the Aero Garden systems I mentioned, the LetPot, Growmesh, which is one of our favorite, or maybe the Elfsys, which is featured on our website, you can. You don't have to wait all of that time. With our seedling bundles, you can pull the bundle of the seedlings out, pop them into the basket of your indoor food growing system, and usually be harvesting within a week. Saves you tons of time, makes it a lot easier. You don't have to wait for seedlings to grow up because we've already got them ready for you. So you can pick them up at our next event. That's going to be the first Sunday of November in the Crooked Run Brewing, Sterling, Virginia. So more information is in our free training program if you live in that area. If you don't, we'd love to hear from you anyways. Join our free training program. And if you'd like to host your own events like that, please reach out on our website, and we'd be happy to share more about our indoor food growing services program, the community grower program. If this seems like quite a bit to you and you're just not sure how to get going, you're in luck. You can do the free training all day. You can grow with us for years if you want using that. But we do have a digital course package that includes 4 courses, 2 hours of one-on-one video training, a growing package, and discounts on all of the systems that we use. So give that a scan if you wanted to sign up for that, because that allows you to actually get live help from one of our community growers. So you get a couple of hours, and we will work with you one-on-one. If you need help setting up a system, if you need help troubleshooting a system, if you're just really not sure how to get started, we can absolutely help you out. So do sign up there. Now for one of our favorite times of the weekly indoor food growing training program, this is actually a highlight of a grower. So this grower is growing on Reddit, and they have shared their indoor food growing setup. And let me see where they are. Yes, here they are. So this user is routine-ad-5739 on reddit.com. They're using a spider farm LED light shelving system for soil growing indoors. Now, it's probably hard for you to tell, but the center plant there looks like a tiny Tim, a container tomato plant, which is a dwarf size. It grows really well in a 3-gallon size container. I think the one on the left there is cucumber, and the other one on the right might be another tomato. Lots of seedlings growing underneath there, but the tomato plants at the top there are already starting to produce fruit. So this is a great little setup. Lights are close. We've got lots of herbs and greens growing there. There's a fan, if you notice, up on the right there. Looks like really easy to set up. And so there's other more efficient ways to do this if you had a rack system of deep soil, you could probably do something similar. But these are easy, they're modular, so you can take the tomato out, replant it, bring in a new plant as needed. It really makes a lot of sense. So that's great job to whomever you are, routine-ad-5739 on reddit.com. You did a great job there. Really excited to see what you're growing and hope you'll share with us. So you can do it at Indoor Garden Market on any of the channels as well. You'll find us there and we'll be able to share your experience. And we'd love to hear from you. So if you'd like to actually join one of our live streams and so we can talk to you and see your setup, we'd love to have you. So just reach out to the website, free training program right there, and it would be really exciting. So I also want to recommend, I mean, there's lots of different ways of getting started, but there is a really nice all-in-one hydroponic greens variety pack that you can get scanning this code right here. Now, the cool thing about these, all of these greens are harvestable in less than 45 days. So if you got them now and you put them into a system next week, you would be harvesting fresh greens for Thanksgiving. Imagine that, harvesting your own salad, your own fresh mint, basil, whatever you love to eat, harvesting all of that at one of the biggest and best meals of the year for most people. So really exciting. That is the all-in-one hydroponic greens variety pack, and you can get it by just doing that. Scan the QR code right there. So thanks so much for joining us. It's been super fun. That concludes our week 5. We went through trellising, we went through pollination, we went through some basic harvesting techniques. Now next week, we're going to go over some more ideas for harvest, drying, regrowing from different kinds of plants. Some plants you can grow in water. They just put down new roots. You can clone them that way. For example, tomatoes are easily cloned in that way as well. Lots of different ways that you can do it, and super exciting. So each one of these indoor food growing classes and sessions is really complementary to the main part of our training program that features 4 different courses that are held live over video chat, first Friday of the month, third Friday, third Saturday, third Sunday of the month. So if you haven't joined those, all inside of our free training and growing program, lots of people will come in, they ask all sorts of questions. You can ask questions all you like. Join them every month if you want and grow along with us. So it's really fun. So just go to the free training program right there, sign up for it. It's really easy to get going. And we do have a free training guide to get you started. So this is just a really basic checklist. So step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, give it a scan there. It's going to take you to places to buy some of the materials as needed. And it makes it really easy to get going. There's a bunch of steps here. Don't expect you to jump straight into it because it's hard. Like realistically, it's hard work. But we have great resources to help you out there. And in addition to that, let me just highlight one more time the indoor food growing video training playlist, free on YouTube. We update it all the time, allows you to go through and learn step by step. You can start in January, start in July. If you start now, you'll be harvesting your first salad by the time we hit Thanksgiving. So really exciting. You can do this year round all the time. And we're excited to grow with you. So thanks so much for joining us. My name is Cliff. Hope to see you at next week's Harvest, Dry, and Regrow session and online through our free training. The bottom line I want you to take away here is just start growing. There's lots of things you can do. You don't have to use hydroponics. You can use soil. You don't have to grow greens. You can grow tomatoes if you want. There's lots of ways you can get involved, but really excited to see what you'll